Hey there, this is Christine Landl, and I am with my sister, my best friend, my business partner, Jennifer Ream, and we are so excited to be here on yet again another platform that we are creating and another chapter, another piece to our journey.
The Well Podcast. This is Jennifer Ream. So excited to be here with you guys. Our intention for this podcast is all about sharing our love for all things wellness, holistic wellness that is. And we are here to uplift, plant some seeds, and support you on your wellness journey. We've always loved being able to be out there with our community, sharing all the things that we learn. And as we grow and learn new things, we love to put them out there, and maybe they'll plant some seeds for you and help you along your journey. So here we are. Let's get started.
Hey, welcome back. Christine here with my sis Jen, and excited to talk about a topic today that is near and dear to our heart, but also one that is in our toolbox that we use, and one that we might be preaching about, and one that's incredibly important. And that I don't think we have enough conversation around it in the proper narrative these days. So
can we acknowledge the camera?
Oh, sure.
I feel like we have to say, this is our first podcast with a camera on. So we're going to give it a try and see how it goes. And
I'm here for it.
If it's all flowing well, keep the camera running. And if it's not, we'll stop doing the camera. But I feel like we should at least acknowledge that this is the first episode with the camera. We do have 33 other episodes, no video. But we're going to try the video and see how it flows. All right, back to living one with nature.
That is the topic. I was alluding to that I hadn't gotten to yet. Yeah. But yes, that is the topic. No, that's all right.
I think too, with video going, it's so funny to me because I'm just like thinking to myself, like, typically you can't see how we would normally be having conversations or eye rolls or like facial expressions. And some of these topics trigger like eye rolls and like facial expressions. And so you get to see all of that with the video. Okay. Did you want to say anything else about the intro?
No. I think that's where I was going with it. I think that talking about nature has so many different elements to it. And even just when we were discussing the things that we wanted to portray and the things that we wanted to discuss, I mean, we talk about these things together often, in little bits here and there and in different manners, but it's, Jen had recently read a book that really, really dove deep into the spiritual side of nature. And, it all is near and dear to our hearts. And we all like to say that we're doing our best to continue to not only connect with nature, but also to support nature. I think there's always more we can do. I think that it's important that we cover the narratives that are being pushed on us from a global aspect. And there's a lot that we have dove deep into in the last few years that I think is important that we touch on, because there's a lot of people, it depends on where you get your information from. It depends on your viewpoint of it. And so
your experiences too.
Yeah, and your experiences, your perspective of it. But I think it's important that there's a lot to unpack around this topic besides the healing pieces, besides the spiritual connection to nature. But what we're doing to our planet is also really important. And there are some things that we can do to shift the demise of it and to help Mother Nature purge what we've been doing to her. But I think it's really important that you keep an open mind while you're listening to this and know that what is always being brought to our attention by media and our government have ulterior motives. And so there's just so much more to it.
Yeah. And I think I want to just keep it at the simple aspect of what we can do, and not so much of like this coming down on you for not doing things right. And this like really negative tone about it, which
and forcing people to do things.
Yeah. What it is a shift in perspective and an understanding at a deeper level of our oneness with nature, our oneness with the earth, our oneness with our food, with the animals, and understanding that even our bodies ebb and flow with the seasons of nature, and making that connection. And the more you make that connection, either consciously or unconsciously, you start to, if you're doing it consciously, you're starting to understand how we work with the earth and how she provides with us, and what we can do for her in return.
And so, taking our cues from nature.
Yes. Exactly. The natural, like I was thinking about this as I was typing notes up, I was literally sitting outside and like just looking at the trees and looking at the birds and like watching all of that, and taking really marinating in it, and really feeling like, okay, if we really did watch how the tree literally goes from its growth cycle to letting go, and how we can let go, and then how it's just so grounded and rooted in the earth, and it doesn't worry that it's getting its nutrients. It just gets it. It trusts that the earth is going to provide.
And it shows signs when it's not getting its nutrients.
Yes.
There are little signs that it needs extra supplements or it needs extra love. Yeah.
And so there's just so many cues in nature. And so it's really about, one, just having the awareness, and two, a mutual respect between the two. And I believe, and I know you believe as well, that we're shifting into a new way of being where it will be more natural. Mm-hmm. We'll have a bigger heart and compassion and understanding of how we interact with nature. And so much so that what you were referring to with this book that I was reading, and it's, I can't remember the name of it. Anyway, we'll share it.
Penny Kelly's book.
Yeah, it was an interesting book. It wasn't the one with living soil to stomach or stomach to soil. I can't remember the name of it, but it was her other one about her farm and her experiences on her farm, so much that she was just talking about once she really devoted herself consciously to the farm and what it needed, she literally could listen and observe how to interact with the bugs and how they were helping with certain plants and weren't, and then she had grapes and stuff like that. So very sensitive. And so she just was learning so much about how the earth was naturally helping her and how she could shift away from everybody around her who was telling her that she had to use pesticides, and she didn't want to do that. And so she was learning how to grow these grapes with doing it natural ways. And she had to learn so much. And as she did, she watched how things were shifting, and the earth was once her soil was where it needed to be, she didn't have to use all that. And so it was really fascinating. And then it also made me feel like I was driving down the road, and it just made me look at the dead animals we see all the time on the side of the road. We just normally pass by, yeah, they were in the way. The damn raccoon was in the way or whatever.
Squirrel
whatever. I'm like, no, we put the road in their natural habitat. We drove these really fast cars that have no regard for animals at all, the little critters.
Which my kids, I slam on the brakes on a regular basis for the squirrels, because the squirrels are a little bit out of control with their awareness.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they literally just stop right in the middle. I'm I stop and I'm like, just go. And, I'm like, that to me would be devastating to hit a squirrel. And I have, but I try my best not to hit any animal.
I think it's just, I don't know. It's just a deeper awareness of it. That's all I'm saying.
You're connecting to it.
Don't go off the road to avoid the damn squirrel. You know what I mean? But it's just this awareness of, we have to live more in harmony with all of our little creatures and, people that are the little beings that are on this earth with us too, that we don't necessarily think about, and what we're doing to our soil and everything else. Like it's just, it's all interconnected, and it's all important, and we are shifting into new ways, I think, of looking at it. A lot of people are. And then there's, like you said, there's this pushing of this
the fear
whole
narrative.
nother narrative.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if I've ever said this out loud, but it's come to me many times. I think it's very egotistical for us to assume that Mother Nature doesn't know what she's doing. I think it's very, to me, this very, like, we know better than Mother Earth about how to handle
Mother Earth.
certain things.
Mm-hmm.
This things that I read about trying to manipulate our atmosphere, or trying to manipulate.
They're not trying, they are.
Yeah. There's like all these attempts to help Earth, when if we just got out of the way, and no matter what they tried to do, Earth is going to purge herself. She is going to shift and do what she needs to do to get rid of toxins and all of that. And I think I just think it's so egotistical for certain people to assume they know better than Mother Earth.
Okay, because I mean,
I just unpacked something there. I'm not sure I wanted to unpack.
Well, I think it's an important conversation, because there's so much to this, and there are things that we can do, and we often feel disempowered by that because of the narratives being pushed. So I think that there's people with intentions to help. And then I think there's the people who are manipulating our weather and manipulating our atmosphere and chemtrails, and, the people who are literally trying to alter the weather for their own personal gain. So I think there's two different things, and I think that that's important for people to know, because so many don't. And this is the difference between where we have gone in our research and where some aren't necessarily willing to open their eyes to. And so when you say that, like the egotistical part are, I feel, sometimes the people who are trying to control it from their own personal gain. Personal, powerful gain. So there's those people.
My point is that they have this like bigger than the earth, like feeling, because it's like, dude,
they have a bigger than
Earth
God
can
feeling.
take us out at any moment. Like, no, if we are in one with nature, if we are living in harmony with Earth, she will support us. Yes. I think it's a good point though, to make that she's, just like we've talked about many podcasts, we're evolving as a humanity. So is the Earth. And so she's going through her own transformation right now, and her own natural changes that are supposed to be happening right now.
And I think are in alignment with stop messing with me energy.
Her consciousness is evolving. So she's evolving, and we are evolving with her. And if you don't go along with that, understanding that shift that is happening right now, and you don't get in alignment with Earth in that way, and by your intentions, Earth will take care of things.
Yeah, and I think
take care of it.
There's just so many different avenues that you can go down with this. You can go down with, I hate this global warming narrative and the climate change narrative, because we got to fight climate change, but yet, yes, there's people who are manipulating climate change for their own greater good.
Changes with fighting anyway. So let's just put that
100%. Yes. Get down to the root cause.
Yeah.
So yes, industrialization of our world in the last, 100 years or 75 years has really contributed to our lack of awareness of cutting down nature that didn't need to be taken out, the trees, the soil, the pesticides, all of our destructive behaviors for the good of really growing economics. Really, that's it.
Yeah,
money.
for money.
And so there's that. That's where we disconnected to begin with. But then there's the people. So then there's that piece. And then there's the side of people who think that they can control Mother Nature, just like they can control humanity for their greater self-serving purposes in a very narcissistic, controlling power grab, money grab ways. So there's all of these different little pieces. And so I can appreciate the person who doesn't necessarily know those were the intentions of those people, like their lack of awareness. One, like let's grow technology, let's grow the factories and the car making and all of it. So there's that, and people just didn't realize along the way that it got out of control, and then
off balance.
And then there's the people who there's really more of like that dark evil entity that is more of control the world persona. So I think there's like almost like two separate things there. And so then the narrative that they're pushing from a societal standpoint is climate change, global warming, do your part, get an electric car, stop, driving the car that we've been selling you for 70 years or whatever.
California, you pay taxes.
Tax up the wazoo credits for not having, all of these things. So it's like, it's disempowering to us as, civilians.
Well, it's the intention behind it.
Right.
Bottom line, it's the intention behind it.
And I think that it's important to kind of go there just like we did for a minute, because I think you have to have the awareness of the intention and why we disconnected to begin with, and how that there are certain people who do have the good intentions and that did not realize how far out of hand it got from our disconnecting. And then there's the people who truly are purposefully pushing this agenda for their own personal gain.
Right.
So I think
power, financial, whatever it might be. Yeah.
And so I think there's that whole piece of it, which is really important. And, you can find this information all over the place. We follow so many people who will share this.
Not on your mainstream media.
Not there. No, because that's only what they want you to know.
This is actually going to qualify for you too. We'll see.
Yeah. We haven't said some of the buzzwords. So, anyways, it wouldn't be us if we didn't bring up that piece of it, but then talk about what we can do to empower ourselves to help and support Mother Nature, which is also giving to our community and giving to the greater earth and world and everyone. So it's all hand in hand, but there are things we can do personally. There's things that we can do in our own homes, in our own backyards, within our communities that we can help support Mother Nature. So I think the spiritual side is really important. I think the healing side is really important to discuss, those things and some of the tips and tools and things that we do to connect with nature more.
Yeah, and so I think bringing it back to that, which is, I think, like you're saying, the main point of that is bringing it back to what can we do? Because sometimes you feel like you're just like this little ant in a world that has, like, you have no control. We don't have control over chemtrails right now. Like, I sit here, I see them, and I'm like, what can I possibly do about that besides take by detoxing things to help?
I think you should. So many people don't know about chemtrails. Yeah. I think it's really important because the other night the sky was so beautiful. Bobby and I were going out for a walk and the sun was set, but the sky was like filled with so many colors. And when you see streaks pattern in a sky, it's really important to know that those are not the clouds that you learned about in science class in 6th grade. Like, that's not what that is. And there's a lot of, remember, keep an open mind when you're listening to us. We've been learning about this for many years, but if this is new to you, go do your own research. We're not telling you what to believe, but go find it. And so the chemtrails are a thing. You can see a picture of the airplane, what it looks like. They're spraying chemicals in our atmosphere, aluminum, formaldehyde, what else? I don't know. They're controlling, they're trying to clean our atmosphere, but or help the atmosphere. They're not. It's spraying chemicals in the sky, and that is obviously coming on to us. And that's probably why we have so many other things going on. But you can see it. For a little while when I was trying to explain this to Bobby, he was just like, no, that's the vapor from the jets. And I'm like, no, vapor from the jets are not leaving a trail along. So now he was, even just the other night, he goes, wow, watch, there's 2 planes in the sky right now. You can see their vapor, but within 5 seconds, it's gone. So it just kind of follows the plane and then it's gone. Right. But the chemtrails are literally a pattern in the sky, and you can usually see either straight lines or you can see a grid. Yep, a graph.
Yeah.
And that's what I took a picture of the other night, and it's like, oh gosh. And then you can watch it dissipate. And it's pretty crazy if you it's still maddening to be out and see it. But like you said, that part right there is a little bit out of our control. I mean, we can bring awareness to it for sure.
This is all we can do at this point. And I think the more that we do, and there's plenty of people out there who do and have tried. There's whistleblowers from within. One that I follow who she was a part of it, and she left, and she was a whistleblower about it. And so, that information is out there. It's not going to be, in your mainstream information. So if
it's
you're
not
still
new either.
Yeah, it's very old. And can be linked to so many things that we're dealing with now from a health perspective. And so it all ties in together. And so what I meant by we take our zeolite to help with heavy metals, and that comes from that kind of stuff, from
industrialization.
Everything that we're, from our food and things like that. So
water.
Bottom line is just doing what you feel you can do and being aware, being more aware of living lightly and more in alignment with earth and what that looks like for you. And it's going to be different for you than it is for me. And the more I learn little things, the more I do things differently, the more I see how I don't feel good about, maybe the way I'm doing something in my yard, or I'm pulling up this, and I just feel a little more like I want to live more in harmony with these things and some of the plants and weeds even, and what they're doing for my garden. And
I think an important piece is spraying our yards. For so long, we were spraying our yards because you don't want to be the one with all the weeds in the yard, the dandelions, and Bobby hates that. So he does not. We tried going we've done several different things. So we found a company that explained to us, yes, we can spot treat the weed, which is really dandelions are so healthy. They're so healing. Yeah. We use dandelion roots in our juice. So, it's really got a bad rap over the years. And we grew up in a yard that had all the little white flowers and dandelions and all of that. And you get into a nice subdivision and you don't want to be that person. So there are things that you can do there. And I think that those are things our listeners that want to hear and need to hear. You can call whoever's treating your lawn and make sure they're not spraying it with chemicals. So, and by chemicals, there's toxic ones, and there's ones that they need supplements, and your grass needs supplements, your tree needs supplements. So there's two different kinds there. And I think that's important to know that you do have options. Find the place that is only supporting your lawn with the nutrients that it needs, the potassium, whatever your grass needs and your soil needs. Find the one that are willing to just do that. And, with weeds, you can do, it's like vinegar and dish soap or something can kill your weeds. So I think that knowing that you can do things right there, the pesticides and the herbicides are some of the things that have completely destroyed our soil. And they say that by 2050, going at the rate that we're going, treating our lawns the way we're treating them, and our farms the way we're treating farms with herbicides and pesticides, our soil will literally be dead. We will have dead soil. And
just dust.
Well, and what that means is that we're growing food with no nutrients. The food.
And you can't even grow food in that. Some of them are so bad you can't even grow food.
Yeah, and it's just important to know that we're growing food for the nutrients, and that comes from the live soil and the probiotics. And it's just, I don't know enough about that to go into the science behind that. And that's not my area of expertise, but I do know enough to know, am I helping it or am I hurting it? And so I think too, it's been really cool to see naturally in the last couple of years, people are intuitively gravitating toward gardening again. And that is growing big time. And I think from our generation growing up, you didn't hear much of that.
Right.
Our parents' generation for sure with their families, but I think we lost it because of the convenience of supermarkets and
fast food.
And fast food for sure. So I think that's been really cool to see that people are wanting to learn more and wanting to learn about gardening. And that's something that we can do. And I mean, I did it this year and I learned about what worked for me and what didn't work for me. And I think that will continue to evolve.
Yeah. And I think in conclusion, it just comes back to having the awareness and living in an aligned way with the earth, and even if it's in your little corner of the world. And if we all did that, earth would be grateful, and she would assist us in lots of ways. And she will go through her natural progression, and she will evolve in ways too. And we can live more in harmony with her. And even just having that level of consciousness around the fact that everything is living. And once you think about that, and once you are moving in your day-to-day life, realizing everything's alive around you, and it has, your grass is alive and your trees are alive, and just watch them. And the more you are connecting with that, the more we will shift in a better way in living in harmony with earth in little tiny ways that all add up to big things.
Yeah. And it's as simple as you have some diseased trees in your yard that you have to take down, or they've died for whatever reason. Plant some trees.
Yes.
It's really as simple as that. We need the trees for oxygen. It is
take one down,
super important. I mean, we're watching, I love where we live because we have so many farms and trees around us, but now we're watching it creep out back into our area where people are developing these areas. And it's like, makes me so sad. And I think that is another little thing that we can do. Like if we're taking them down in our yards, plant another one. You can get them for inexpensive. So, super important. There's a lot of little things that we can do. Just being more aware of that is really important.
Yeah. And Penny Kelly's books are really enlightening. If you're interested in reading more, and we have her books, at least one of them, on our favorites page of our new website, which is, live. And we haven't talked about that on the podcast yet, but we have a new website, and it has a favorites page and all of our favorite things. So as we're talking about them on the podcast, we're going to be going right over and putting them on there, whether it's a product or a book. So it would be so much easier to be able to say, go to the website, it's there. So go to the favorites page on the website. You'll find Penny Kelly's book. She's been an amazing teacher to me in the last year. I've learned so much from her as a naturopath, as a farmer in Michigan. And we're blessed.
And a thriving 70-something-year-old woman who's as sharp as they get, and looks amazing, and she's doing something right. So
yeah, she has definitely been like such a cool blessing and like person that kind of flowed into our lives from I never met her in person, but from just her work in general. And her work is the kind of work that needs to be learned and carried on through the next generations. Her work that she's brought into her lifetime is just it's really, really important in all different ways, from the work on consciousness to living one with nature, all of it. So
we do dive a lot deeper into these topics over in our new membership group, and we will be diving into them more. That's why we created it, and we love it. Is a group of like-minded people who want to be supported and encouraged and learn. And it's just
maybe talk about things that we can't say on YouTube.
Exactly. And so, and just to help and serve in many ways. And so that's where we're at now. A lot of our energy is being spent in our new group. And so if you'd like to join us, it's on our website. It's lots of links all over it where you can get more information on that and join us if you feel called to. So we're super excited about that new platform and being able to discuss all the things in there.
Yeah.
So thanks for being here today. We could go on and on. We thought this was going to be a short one, and we ended up going on our tangents like we like to do. And again, I think this is just touching on it a little bit, and just to bring some awareness to you, like we said, and to just start being a little more conscious of how we interact together with Mother Nature and our surroundings in our little corner of the world. So thanks again for being here. We appreciate you, and we're super grateful. Bye-bye.
Thanks again, friends, for joining us today on our latest podcast episode. We love sharing this with you. So please share the love if you feel called to all your friends and family.
And don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you don't want to miss out on what we're going to talk about next. It's always so juicy.
And of course, you can find us on social, Instagram, Vibe Well Lifestyle, and Vibe Well on Facebook. Love y'all.
And if you're in town, make sure you stop by and see us at Vibe Well too.
Yeah, we would love to see your cute face.
See you soon.
Bye.